Welcome in, everybody, to our TNF Prize Pick Prop Show, better known as Wind Up Wednesday. I'm your girl, Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren, and I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how much stuff I had going on today. When that beat drops on the intro to this show, I tell you what, producer Fox, a producer extraordinaire, in my opinion, I guarantee you is laughing his butt off because I'm over there like with the white man overbite, like I jam to that intro music. Come on, cheers everybody, welcome in. It is our TNF Prize Picks prop show here at FTN, and like I said, I'm your girl Lauren Carpenter. You can find me on social media at Stepmom Lauren, and also make sure you're subscribed to this video. By the way, smash that subscribe button. Come visit with me, the best show on FTN, clearly, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's what time it is right now. And we're heading into week 6, everybody, which seems odd that we're even having this conversation because I feel like a minute ago, it was the summer and we were like, oh my God, I can't wait for football to start. And now it's crunch time. Now it's bye weeks. Now it's stress. And a lot of people are sitting at losing records because it's been so incredibly odd. But in addition just to redraft fantasy, we have the absolute fun platform of PrizePicks, which if you're losing in your redraft fantasy, so what? Who cares? You can head right on over to prizepicks.com. And if you haven't played yet before, it is incredibly easy to do. It's just over-unders. That's it. Super simple. And it's not just football. There are so many other sports. In fact, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you're a basketball fan, right now there is a Steph Curry promotion where if he scores more than half a point, you get that free square. There is a maximum bet of only $20 you can place on that. But I mean, you can place 2 players. That's all you need to do. It's 2 to 5 players. Both of them hit, you win. It's pretty awesome. I absolutely love that. So just a little tidbit for everyone over there who's curious and wants to go check out PrizePicks. And if you haven't played yet before, make sure you use the promo code FTN. That gets your first deposit of up to $100 matched, which is free money. You know, you put in $100, you get $100. That's free money to play around with, which is a ton of fun. And not only in addition to my show, we have a ton of stuff over at FTNFantasy.com, over at FTNBets.com, over at FTNDaily.com. So speaking of FTN Daily, as soon as you head on over to PrizePicks.com and you use that promo code FTN to get your first deposit matched, go ahead and put your picks into our free pick tracker tool over at FTN Daily. It's free to use. I do mine every single week. In fact, I have a winning record, of 4-1. I did miss 1 week thanks to Hurricane Ian. Appreciate you very much. That wasn't fun. And still, prayers up to everyone on the west coast of Florida who have to deal with the aftermath of that as well. So keep all of them in your thoughts and prayers. I have a winning record on there. Knock on wood, that continues because I put a lot of research into this. But anyway, before we get into the TNF prize picks, head on over at FTN Daily, put in your picks, follow along with ours. Like I said, mine are in there. And we even have a free Discord chat. It's a prize picks Discord chat free for you. You can head on over there, chat it up if you'd like. But over at FTN, I think it's Bets. I'm not sure. One of our amazing websites that we have. If you use my promo code, which you can see right over here, see that SML, and then right there on your screen, you can get 20% off any package. That gives you exclusive access to some of our best information that, yes, it is behind a paywall for a reason because it is amazing. Our analysts over there put in so much work. So detail oriented. In fact, I used a lot of the projections in order to help me with these TNF lines, which PrizePicks, you were pretty staunch when it came to the lines for TNF. Now, last week was not fun. It was the Denver Broncos and it was the Indianapolis Colts. This week, it's the Commanders and the Bears. This isn't going to be awesome either. So might as well just raise a glass and understand that not every Thursday night is going to be a super fun barn burner like we have seen in weeks past minus last week. But hey, at least we can try to make some money off of it. Am I right? So again, promo code FTN over at prizepicks.com to get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. You can use my promo code of SML on any of our websites to get 20% off any package. It helps me out, helps you out. And that helps you not only with redraft, but also in your betting. In fact, Jeff Radcliffe has Bet the Edge on there. He puts all of his projections and what he thinks is going to happen. He's a great guy over there doing tons of good work. Shout out to all of my colleagues who work on over there. So let's just hop right into this, guys. We have not only our TNF prize picks, but we have week 6 starts and sits. I also have a new segment that I debuted last week, and these are free agent pickups, guys that probably slid through the waiver wire, especially if you're in like a 10-person or a 12-person league that you should probably be picking up because not many people are talking about them yet. But they could have possibility as we move forward, especially to help you out with the dreaded bye weeks. We have 4 teams on a bye this week, and we have even more injuries. Rashad Penny is out for the season. That sucks. Tyreek Hill's on the injury report. Aaron Rodgers is now on the injury report. That stinks. Now, it is Wednesday. And Wednesday, if you have a hangnail, you normally are listed as questionable. So keep your eye on those players. Make sure that they are healthy moving into these matchups going forward. And then, as always, everybody, you submitted your questions to me. And if you're joining me live, first of all, thank you very much. Second of all, I will be here to help answer your questions as we head into week 6. So let's get started. Let's get into these TNF prize picks. Producer extraordinaire, when we are done checking out that beautiful Justin Fields confused face. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel when I was looking at these lines too. Justin Fields, I feel you. But he does do yoga. He has a yoga instructor. He's practicing on his breathing, slowing the game down. So maybe things will start picking up for the Bears just a little bit. But let's go ahead and share my screen over there, sir. There we are. We're here. Now, I really do have to be honest. If you can see my mouse floating around here yonder, normally we have some more options. And notice how there are no touchdown options over here where my mouse is going. Normally we have some touchdowns. Now, it is early. It is only Wednesday, and we're talking about a TNF game. As I've mentioned before, I'll mention it again. These lines change. As people start making bets on these earlier and earlier, PrizePicks will change the lines, okay? So if you want to get them in early enough, I love that. If you want to wait to see if maybe there's going to be some further options going in for this Thursday night game, you can do that as well. I've already submitted my picks. So if you haven't used PrizePicks before, I'm going to go ahead and show you just how easy it is to do. And let's again, I just wish that there were some not super tight lines that I can help you with. But this is one of the reasons I brought up using my promo code at SML over at FTN Daily is using some of our amazing projections. That is what really helped me determine whether or not I want to go over or under on some of these players' stats. So the first one that I'm going to target here is going to be David Montgomery, who is finally back from injury, and he came back in a pretty big way, which I really liked. I like David Montgomery. I also like Khalil Herbert, who did not have a super awesome game, but fear not, Khalil Herbert will be able to come back. So hang on to him. Don't freak out about him just yet. But I'm specifically looking at the rushing and receiving line for David Montgomery. And we have it here at 84 and a hook. That's also known as 85 and a half combined rushing and receiving yards for David Montgomery. And I have to say, the Commanders have been pretty surprising. The NFC East, has been surprising. The least of which is the Commanders. Okay, so yeah, they've been okay. All right, but there's a problem. Like, defense is still a little bit weak, and they are specifically pretty bad against running backs. That's right. They are ranked 18th worst, and they have allowed 3 rushing as well as 3 receiving touchdowns, lots and lots of yards to the running back. So where I would have loved to see a touchdown line here, we did not have one. That's okay. I'm going ahead and I'm selecting David Montgomery, and I am going to go with the more on his 84 and a half rushing yards. I am really going to leverage that poor Commanders defense against the run. In fact, I'm leveraging most of the Commanders in this one. Actually, I'm sorry, most of the Commanders defense, I am leveraging the Bears. I know that sounds weird to say, but we're not talking about redraft fantasy. We are talking betting some money on PrizePicks. So let's take a look at our next one. As I mentioned, Khalil Herbert kind of had a bad game last week. Don't worry about it. But instead of doing Khalil Herbert right here on his rushing and receiving, which I don't mind, if you don't believe in David Montgomery and you want to take that lower line of 32 and a half combined rushing receiving, I don't hate that either. I just think the David Montgomery line is pretty juicy. But up here where my mouse is going, I'm going to scroll right on over to the rushing yards. And let's take a look at what we have here. A few more options to us, but again, I'm still going to target that poor Commanders defense against the run. So I'm going to go ahead and find my boy Khalil Herbert. That's only 26 and a half. If he can break off a couple of runs, like when David Montgomery has a water break, I think that he can get the over on this. So again, I'm going to go ahead and select the more here for Khalil Herbert. Again, still continuing to pick on the Commanders. And guess what? You guessed it. It doesn't end there. If we're talking about a defense that is porous against running, or let's just call it the run, why not go with Justin Fields, who is also very, very good at running the football? Because let's face it, either the offensive scheme doesn't allow him to throw or he really ain't that good at it, but he runs a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the rushing attempts. If I can find it. There it is. Rushing attempts. Only 2 options here. I already chose David Montgomery because I think 16.5 is a little high. I already chose David. I'm sticking with Justin. And check that out. Only 8 rushing attempts? I'll take it. I'm going to go the over on Justin Fields. Again, there was a fantastic pass to Darnell Mooney in last week's game. He made the most athletic reception. It was the arm extended backwards. We had a few of those that were pretty awesome to watch. Very, very athletic, very spry, very explosive and fireworks. But let's face it, that doesn't happen often. And I don't think that's going to happen a lot or this week, especially on a TNF, which is super gross anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and bank on the fact that Justin Fields is going to be rushing a little bit more than he is throwing. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over on 8 rush attempts for Justin Fields. And guess what? I'm still staying here with the Bears. But one of the things that I love about PrizePicks is that not only do you have these offensive players, not only do you have the idea of combined pass attempts and rushing attempts, or combined rushing attempts and receiving yards, or I'm sorry, rushing yards and receiving yards, but you can also leverage field goals. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the field goals. I'm taking Cairo Santos here, again, because there's going to be a lot of running and not a lot of throwing. And if the Commanders can find a way to hold them on 3rd down, they may be needing to kick a field goal. Now, the exact same thing can be said for Joey Sly. So if you don't like the Cairo Santos option, go ahead and go for Joey Sly. I don't mind either one of them. I just thought if I'm already picking on the Commanders, let's just keep picking on them. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the over on 1.5 field goals. So if he makes 2 of them, boom, smash, we're done. And considering PrizePicks kind of forces you, not kind of, it does. You can't just pick all players from one team. There's got to be someone I'm going to pick on. So I've picked on the Commanders. I'm going to stick with picking on the Commanders. I'm going over to interceptions, and I'm going to select Carson Wentz. And I'm going to pretty much guarantee, we don't like that G word, but I'm going to assume that he is going to throw at least 1 interception to the Bears. Carson Wentz is usually good for it. That's what he does. He's going to be force-feeding players like Diami Brown because Jahan Dotson is ruled out for the Thursday night game. Logan Thomas is ruled out for the Thursday night game. So when he throws, it's going to go to Curtis Samuel, and it's going to be attempting to sort of go to maybe McKissick, and most likely force-feeding it to Diami Brown like he did last week, and I think one of those is going to get picked off. So I'm going to go on the more here. Again, let's just go over these real quick one more time. I've got David Montgomery over 84.5 combined rushing and receiving yards. I have the over on Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert. I speak English, I promise. I'm going to go over on his rushing yards at 26.5. For some reason, I really like that line. And then for some reason, it scares me at the same time, but I'm going with it. Always go with your gut. My gut's telling me that that's going to be an over. It's an over week here for TNF. I'm going over on 8 rush attempts for Justin Fields. I'm going over on my my beverage here. I'm also going to go over on 1.5 field goals for Cairo Santos, and I am going over on 1/2 of an interception for Carson Wentz. And there you go, my friends. And just in case you haven't played before, right down here is where you can make your bet. And what's really neat about it, you have 2 options. You can do a flex play, which means if you get 4 out of 5, you still win some money. If you get 3 out of 5, you get some of your money back. If you do a power play, you have to get all 5 in order for you to win, but it shows you what your actual payout's going to be, which is fun. So if I did $10, you can win 100. If I did $50, you could possibly win 500 if you hit all 5. So that's kind of neat how they show you that payout there. So that is what I am doing. That is what I have already submitted over on prizepicks.com. I'm also going to be entering these picks into ftndaily.com into our free picks tracker tool. I highly suggest you do the same, and you can follow along with me. And hopefully by Friday, I'm going to be 5-1 and not 4-1. And it's going to be super duper awesome. Oh, that's not going to be a super, but watch this be like a crazy crazy scoring game. Like, watch both of them, just turn it on because weird things happen on Thursday Night Football. Am I right? I just have this weird feeling that's exactly what's going to happen. Producer Fox, why don't you put my tired hat head back on? Yeah, I didn't do my hair today, so I'm wearing my Mizzou hat. And you can see like my Mizzou thing right here. Go Mizzou. We're terrible in college right now, but that's okay. Go KU. We're arch rivals, but I still root for you. Not a problem. But watch this game be absolutely insane. Like that's something that would happen on a Thursday night game between two of the most boring teams in the NFL. But it didn't happen against the Colts and the Broncos. So who knows? We'll see. TNF always keeps us on our toes. But let's go ahead and move on to our next segment here. In case you missed out on those waiver wire essential players that you've been needing, you were dying to have them, but you just missed out. You didn't spend enough fab. You didn't have a high enough waiver priority. There could be some players that are still left that you can swoop up and do a maybe start them, maybe not have to start them this week. But sometimes there's a little gem in there that you can stash. In fact, Jake Seeley, he and I have a show on Tuesdays for All In Football. It is the waivers, it's the worries. We talked about one particular player who is widely available, as in like 1% rostered, if that, and that is Khalil Shakir. And as Jake calls him, Khalil Shakir, don't lie. Hips don't lie, I think is what his thing is. I don't know. He combines things like air fryer mouth, Pat air fryer mouth. That's one. He calls him Khalil Shakir hips don't lie, which I don't mind that because he can shake them. And he's pretty fun and explosive to watch. He did compare the skill set of Khalil Shakir with the skill set of Deebo Samuel, with his ability to run, with his explosive playability as well. So Khalil Shakir, easy for you to say. He is only 1% rostered. He's one of those guys that if you have room on your roster and you're not bothered by injuries, you already have a roster lined up for week 6, you're not really worried about those bye weeks, maybe you want to hang on to him for week 7 buys, Khalil Shakir, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with that Buffalo Kansas City game, which is one of my matchups to watch besides the Cowboys Eagles game, which I'm very excited about as well. Again, speculative ad, not one that you absolutely have to start, but one that I'm very excited about, especially if you're in a keeper league. My next one is I cannot believe there are 3 guys on here that I'm blown away that they're even available and they're not like 80% or above rostered. All right. And the first one is going to be Alec Pierce, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, he's a rookie. No, he's not Michael Pittman, but I tell you what, he's doing pretty darn good. He is roughly around 10% roster, just depending on what platform that you're using. I've seen 40%, I've seen 5%. So I kind of went right in the middle there, 10 to 20%. He is still widely available. I love Alec Pierce. He is getting a lot of volume, and Matt Ryan is looking his way. He's actually looking his way in desperate situations, of which Matt Ryan is normally in desperate situations. And if you heard my show last week, I said there are 3 things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and Matt Ryan throwing an interception. I'll add a little caveat on that: getting sacked. So he's looking for Alec Pierce when he is in desperate situations. Pick him up if you have the ability to do so. And in my opinion, he is a start right away. He's not a speculative ad. He's not someone that you need to stash. I think that he is a start. I think he's a good start, and I think you should have him in your roster. My next one is Taysom Hill. This one blows my mind. He literally rushed in 3 touchdowns. He threw a touchdown. He had 2 fumble recoveries. He's returning kicks. I mean, the man can do anything. He is literally a tight end, running back, or a quarterback that you can put in the tight end position, which is the dumpster fire of fantasy football. I really think we should lobby just to get rid of the tight end position and just make it a flex. But that is me. That's not everyone else's opinion. And still, 99% of us have to fill in that tight end position. And basically the game is Taysom Hill or at tight end, Mark Andrews or Taysom Hill. Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce or Taysom Hill. I'm going Travis Kelce. Other than that, I'm going Taysom Hill. So if he is somehow available on your free agency, don't walk to your phone. Don't know. Just run now and pick him up. He is an invaluable piece to have, not only in the next coming weeks, but I think rest of season. I don't care if Jameis Winston plays again. I don't care if Alvin Kamara is there. I don't care if Michael Thomas is healthy. Honestly, his upside is astronomical right now. So Travis Kelce is a must. Travis Kelce, I wish. Taysom Hill is a must add if he is somehow available. I've seen it as low as only 10% rostered, even after waivers have passed. That just, again, I'm mind blown. Another one here too, we kind of forgot about him. But Javonte Williams is out for the season. We all know this. But Latavius Murray was added to the practice squad. I'm sorry, added to the active roster. Now, he was inactive for last week's game. And I get that because he just on the new team. But this is going to be pretty awesome for Latavius Murray, especially if Melvin Gordon goes down for some particular reason or if he gets banged up. Remember, he's a veteran in this league. He ain't no Sprite chicken anymore. So Mike Boone is going to be that one dude who is likely going to be the Javonte Williams role. Not Javonte Williams. You cannot replace that young man. But Mike Boone is going to be there. But I think Latavius Murray is also going to have his share when he gets used to this offense. And God forbid anything happened to Melvin Gordon, you have a very, very high-end insurance policy. And last but not least, Jameson Williams. He is a rookie, and he has been on IR for the Detroit Lions since the start of the season. Now is the time to grab him and put him in your IR slot if you have not done so already. The Lions are throwing. I know that they got goosed last week, and they were shut out. That has not been the trend for them, but Jameson Williams, as soon as he is ready to go, he is going to be a beast alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I love the Jameson Williams pickup if he is somehow also still available. So remember, after your waivers have passed, that doesn't mean it's be-all, end-all for your week. Go and check to see who your league mates have dropped in order to make room, because you never know who has fallen through the cracks and who someone doesn't believe in or rage drop for whatever reason. You would be shocked at the amount of times people have said to me, oh my God, this guy's dropped. Should I grab him? Like Deontay Johnson. I've gotten so many of those questions. I know he hasn't had a good week like we've expected. Give Kenny Pickett some time. His target share was astronomical. He just needs to get that second foot in bounds. And I'm pretty sure Deontay Johnson knows how to do that. So again, one of those examples. Always check your waiver of the free agency after waivers have passed. You never know what special little gems are going to be available. So speaking of special gems and speaking of week 6, we are going to get into our next segment here, which I lovingly and easily call the starts and sits. This is for week 6. Now, instead of saying sit, because we're going up against bye weeks and we are going up against injuries, and I love those 2 little wine glasses. Aren't they cute? I'm going to cheers them real quick. I still need to come up with a name. If you guys think of anything fun, let me know. We need to name them. Like something fun and then another one that's cantankerous, just to like go along with the start and sit. You know what I mean? That would be cool if we could name them. But instead of saying start and sit, this week I'm doing start and fade, because there are players that I don't like their matchups at all, but you might have to play them because you're in a desperate situation. Now, the reason I'm even bringing them up in the first place is because if you do have one of these players, make sure you surround the rest of your roster with high upside guys. What I mean by that is maybe they're not surefire, maybe their floor is not safe, but their ceiling is astronomical. You may have to deal with that because there are some pretty rough matchups that some of our players are going to go up against. So let me go ahead and start with the fades first, and then I'll finish on a little bit of a higher, more fun note and go with the starts on the people that I'm really excited about. So let's go ahead and start with the fades. And my very first one is going to be Rashad Bateman. This may seem a little obvious because he didn't play last week. He is injured. But if he is able to suit up, I'm still not okay starting him. Not only because he's hurt, but they're playing against the Giants, who are shockingly the 3rd best defense in the NFL against wide receivers. And this offense is funneled through Mark Andrews, and it is funneled through Lamar Jackson's legs. In fact, Lamar Jackson ranks 18th in passing yards so far this season, and he ranks 22nd in passing attempts. He's not throwing the ball very much. And when he is, he's looking for Mark Andrews. Let's be honest here. So I don't like Rashad Bateman. And even if you do have him, even if he suits up, and even if you're desperate, I still wouldn't start Rashad Bateman. I just don't do it. See if there's somebody else in free agency that you can start, or someone who is less boomer bust like a Drake London, who I even have in my fade, but I'd rather have Drake London on the field than Rashad Bateman this week. I don't like the matchup against the Giants. And that actually brings me to my next point, Drake London. If you have a better option besides Drake London, I feel that you should go for that, except for Rashad Bateman. The thing with Drake London is he's trending toward boomer bust right now. When he was kind of, I want to say old reliable, which sounds silly because he's a rookie, but he strung together 3 really, really good weeks. And then the wheels kind of fell off. And he had, I think, not even combined for double digits, depending on what your scoring format is. It's not his fault. His fault is Arthur Smith. His fault is Marcus Mariota. I mean, even without Kyle Pitts, it's garbage. I don't like it. You may have to play him because there is still huge touchdown potential for him. But if you can swing it, see if you can put a slightly safer floor guy in there and not go for someone like Drake London, and definitely avoid Rashad Bateman. But again, desperate times, desperate measures. If you have to start him, the flip side of going high upside on some of these guys is maybe you have to go in even higher ceiling than someone like Drake London, but actually you want to go on a little bit of a safer floor from those two wide receivers. My next one is someone who I actually I was in my starts last week, which was Kareem Hunt. He saved his fantasy day with a touchdown. So just the fact that going up against the Chargers, who have the worst defense against the run, Kareem Hunt was still overshadowed. It wasn't as much of a committee as I had been worried that the Cleveland Browns were going to use between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So even against a very poor defense, Kareem Hunt still didn't show up. So this week against the New England Patriots, I like it a lot less. It's gross. Now, Nick Chubb is going to be an auto start. He did put up 143 yards last week. Do I think that's repeatable for Chubb? No. But in this case, if you can avoid sitting Kareem Hunt, because he's probably a flex option for you, if you can avoid sitting Kareem Hunt, I will. The Patriots have pretty stout defense against the run. In fact, I think they've only allowed one touchdown so far this season, 2 running backs. And if that's going to be another touchdown, it's going to go to Chubb. It's probably not going to go to Kareem Hunt. So I would sit Hunt this week in week 6. And I have 2 more here. The rest are both running backs. This is gross. And again, another situation where you may not have a choice. In fact, both of these 2 remaining, well, 3, if we want to count the running backs for the Cowboys. If some way, somehow, you can avoid starting Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, you might have to do so. The Eagles' defense is pretty good against the run, but this matchup is like pure hatred. They hate each other. Like they really do. I've said this before, with the fire of 1,000 suns, they despise each other. And the Eagles are pretty staunch against a lot of running back usage, if you will. They'll allow the attempts, but not necessarily the yards, maybe a touchdown here or there. But if anything, it's going to be more Ezekiel Elliott than it's going to be Tony Pollard. So if you can avoid it, I would try to fade Pollard and sit him if you can. If not, surround your roster higher upside guys that have a slightly safer floor. I just don't trust Tony Pollard in this matchup whatsoever, even though I'm very excited to see it. My last guy, another one. I hate to repeat myself, but I'm going to anyway. It's my boy. It's my guy, Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is a fade and even a sit for me this week, even with third-string rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson likely starting in place of Tua Tagovailoa and Teddy Bridgewater, who are both out in concussion protocol. Likely it's going to be Skylar Thompson, which means a lot of running, but that's going to go through Raheem Mostert, and the matchup is not good. They are playing the Minnesota Vikings, and they are ranked 13th best against the run. Now, I know that's not 3rd best or 4th best, but they have still held teams very well. Now, David Montgomery did do very well on the ground against them, but I don't think Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds are exactly that kind of David Montgomery caliber here. And even if one of them is going to do well, it's probably going to be Raheem Mostert. Now, the thing is, again, you might have to start Chase Edmonds. That's okay if you do. Try not to if you can avoid it. He is incredibly touchdown dependent. So cross your fingers, take some Pepto, maybe have yourself a beverage. Maybe don't watch the game and just really hope that Chase Edmonds scores a touchdown, because that's really what's going to save his fantasy day, is scoring points, because if he does not, then he barely scores anything. Let's go on to something a little bit more peppy, shall we? Something a little happier. Let's plug those guys into your lineup that have some excellent matchups as opposed to some super gross ones. And let's start with just the beast, the monster himself, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs in probably everyone's game of the week. It's Gabe Davis. Obviously, you're starting Stephon Diggs. Let's not be crazy here. But Gabe Davis, 3 receptions, 4 million yards. I'm being sarcastic. Of course, he didn't score 4 million yards. It was 171, and he had 2 touchdowns. And one of them was highly contested. He ripped it out of the hands of Minka Fitzpatrick. How cool is that? But yeah, if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to do anything with cover 1 and cover 2, they are going to shut down Stephon Diggs, which leaves Gabe Davis open and ready to feast yet again. And Gabe Davis has proven that he can do it on very few targets and few receptions. And Josh Allen looks his way. 99 yards, because that's just what Josh Allen does, especially against the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is going to be a fun game. And I think Gabe Davis is a must start in week 6. Next up, another wide receiver here who's been on the fence for a lot of people, and I completely understand. And if you do want to fade him, I get that too, but I really like the matchup for Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. They're going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who, let's just face it, they suck against wide receivers. They suck at defense. I mean, they're like Seattle Seahawks defense bad. No offense for anyone who's fans of both of those teams. Sorry, Greg. One of my best friends is a Falcons fan. He doesn't like it when I make fun of them, but here we are. So I think that Brandon Ayuk has some potential. Obviously, this is Deebo Samuel's game, but he also does run. Kittle is getting a little bit more involved in the offense as he heals. He's coming back from injury, starting to get his NFL legs underneath him and shaking off a little bit of rust. But there is opportunity for Brandon Ayuk, especially if you are dealing with some wide receivers who are on a bye. Remember, 4 teams are on a bye this week. So I don't mind starting Brandon Ayuk. I think that he's a solid play in week 6. Sticking with the wide receiver position on another one that people are getting a little worked up about, but I think is going to have a solid bounce back game. Adam Thielen. Hi, Adam Thielen finally found the end zone. How much do we love you? They're playing against the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins started off the year pretty good. You know, their defense was stepping up to the plate. Tua was playing well, and then the wheels fell off, and things just looked gross, and now they still look gross. So if they have any hope of shutting anything down with the Minnesota Vikings, it's going to have to be Justin Jefferson. So again, kind of like this Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis type of scenario, this does open up potential for Adam Thielen. And Kirk Cousins has started to look his way more accurately. His targets have gone up. They were anywhere between like 4 and 8, but his accuracy to Adam Thielen has gone a little bit better. And also his targets further downfield and into the red zone, starting to get a little bit more red zone looks and faith when it's in scoring position. He is a little bit more touchdown dependent. So if you want to fade Adam Thielen, I get it, but I think he's going to have a solid bounce back game. Again, if you are in a desperate situation because of injuries or bye weeks, I don't mind Adam Thielen at all playing against the Miami Dolphins. I have 2 more here for you, and we're going to move away from the wide receiver position, and we're going to target the running back position, specifically another one of my guys. In fact, the last 2 are my guys. I have a lot of my guys on here, probably because I do a lot of research. Melvin Gordon, everybody. It is Melvin Gordon's week. All right. It is his week to feast. Let's start first with the fact that they're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, which I mentioned earlier are the worst in the league against running backs. Let's add on to that this is a massive revenge game for Melvin Gordon. And if anyone is going to gash the Chargers, it had better be Melvin Gordon. So he is a must start for me. Again, they allowed Nick Chubb 134 yards on 17 attempts last week. I really think that Melvin Gordon can have a solid game. Now, Mike Boone is also another good start here as well. If you are not a Melvin Gordon manager, I don't mind Mike Boone at all because, again, there should be points aplenty. But I have a feeling that Denver is going to be featuring Melvin Gordon and allowing him some retribution, we'll call it. A retribution game, revenge game, but I like retribution a little bit better. But yeah, Melvin Gordon is a must start for me this week. And the last one, who had better, let's put it that way. He had better have a better game, and that is Cam Akers, running back for the Los Angeles Rams. They're going up against the Carolina Panthers, who on paper look really good, but in real life look really bad, especially against the run. And Darrell Henderson has taken a back seat to Cam Akers. The biggest problem here is the offensive line. That should come as no surprise. Matthew Stafford cannot stay upright. He has been literally on his behind more often than he's been on his 2 feet. It's been bad, but the best way to combat a bad offensive line is just dumping the football off or handing it off to someone like Cam Akers, whose usage was through the roof at the end of last season when he was coming back from his Achilles. So this is his opportunity to have a bounce back game, a get right game. And the Panthers have allowed over 600 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns to running backs so far. So Cam Akers, I'm going to do a cheers to you, my friend, because you know how many starts and sit questions I get with you? I get so many that are like, can I drop Cam Akers? No, don't drop Cam Akers. Can I drop Cam? No, don't drop Cam Akers. Do not prove me wrong, young man. I need you to do well. That was my diatribe. And those were also the starts and sit/fades heading into week 6. Now, remember, everybody, it is Wednesday. I know I've said this before, but I will repeat myself. It is Wednesday. If you get a hangnail, you have to go on the injury report. Otherwise, you get in serious trouble. So if your guys get that dreaded cue next to them, don't freak out just yet. Keep your eye on practice reports from tomorrow, which is Thursday, and also specifically Friday. That's usually that big telltale sign on availability and usage is going to be what they do on Friday. So if you do get that cue, don't freak out. Everything should be okay. I'm going to will it to be okay. And also, hit me up on Twitter when you guys are watching the games and let me know what your favorite matchups are because I'm really looking forward to, again, Eagles, Cowboys. I also cannot wait for Chiefs, Bills. It's going to be amazing. I am so excited. And without further ado, everybody, it's time for you. It's time for you, for your questions, for those burning situations that you need help with. I am here to help you out. And oh, Benjamin, it's blurry. I'm so sorry, everybody. My internet has been having some issues. So if it is blurry, I am so sorry, my friends. But you know what? Maybe it's good that it's blurry because I have a hat on for a reason. My hair is gross. So I have a hat on. I do have makeup on though, so that's good. So maybe it's good that it's blurry. I'm really sorry that that happened, Benjamin. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And also, Albert, thank you so much for joining me. You are absolutely the best. Would I start Devonta Smith over Jalen Waddle this week? And you know what? The answer is yes. I absolutely would. Jalen Waddle's been a little bit banged up. That's part of the problem. The biggest problem is Skylar Thompson. And I know that Tyreek Hill is also banged up as well. I think this is going to stay on the ground here. I want a piece of that Cowboys-Eagles game, and I think that's Devonta Smith. The Cowboys will likely throw everything they have at A.J. Brown as well as Miles Sanders. So that leaves a lot of opportunity for Dallas Goedert. It also leaves some excellent opportunity for Devonta Smith. And let me go ahead and go over to my other screen here so I can pull up. Thank you, everyone, so much who submitted their questions over to me on the socials, specifically on Twitter. Thank you very much. I'm here to help you answer your questions. And if for some reason I missed one, hit me up at Stepmom Lauren. I will try to get to you. So let me run through those really quick, and I won't keep you any longer than we already have. Rachel, my girl Rachel, Tootsie Pop. How you doing, girl? ETN. Najee or AJ Dillon, pick two. I am fading AJ Dillon because this is kind of the Aaron Jones show and the Packers need to figure their stuff out. I like what ETN is able to do, especially in a PPR format. I know Najee Harris is not producing, but I think his volume is safe enough that you should be able to get away with it. So I'm going to go ETN and I'm going to go Najee Harris. Scotty Wayne, thank you so much for giving me your question. Chris Olave or Drake London? I think both of these guys are kind of interchangeable here, but I'm still going to go Chris Olave. They force feed him enough. The quarterback play isn't as much on the ground as it is for Drake London. So I am going to go Chris Olave over Drake London. Thank you again, Scotty Wayne, for submitting your question to me. And Kalila Jones, first of all, your name is super cool, Kalila. That's fun to say just by itself. Another Drake London question, which is one of the reasons why I brought him up in my starts and sits in the fades. In fact, that is an article. It's a 5-player fade you can find over on NBCSportsEdge.com as well as my website, stepmomlauren.com, which you can subscribe to for free, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Drake London or Deontay Johnson in standard scoring. Normally, I would err on the side of Deontay Johnson for his volume, but you are in a standard scoring league, which means you want those big plays. And that's going to be more Drake London than it is Deontay Johnson. So in this particular case, I am going to start Drake London, even though I do have him in my player fade column. I still am going to lean Drake London for you here, Kalila Jones. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. And as always, match winning star, always so involved on the Twitter machine, asking me so many wonderful questions. Sit one. Curtis Samuel, no way he's starting. Chris Godwin, okay, he didn't have a great week, but I think he can bounce back. Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson, or Lazard. This one is pretty easy for me. Allen Robinson has to prove that he's worth it. I'm not starting Allen Robinson. In fact, in my opinion, I think he's droppable. So the one out of this that I'm going to sit match winning star is going to be Allen Robinson. Ugh, that hurts my soul. I had so much faith in him. I had so much hope that he was going to do so well this year. So far, not so good. And it's not his fault. You know, Matt Stafford's elbow, the offensive line, all this stuff is just super gross for the Rams. And Luis, thank you so much, Luis. What do you do with Kyle Pitts? Well, first thing you're going to do, you're going to do one of these. Okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. And not at the same time, though. I mean, that is not conducive. That means you choke. So one at a time. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to go run to a free agency, and we're going to pick up Will Dissly. Will Dissly is playing against the Arizona Cardinals, who are terrible against tight ends. You can stream Will Dissly. In fact, you can probably start him in other good matchups because he is scoring touchdowns. It's not huge volume monster. I get it. But if you have Kyle Pitts, I think he returned to practice. I still don't trust him. If you want to start Kyle Pitts, I get it because his ceiling is ridiculous. But if you don't want to start him and you want another option, hang on to Kyle Pitts, run over and get Will Dissly because I think he's going to have a good game against the Cardinals. And Benjamin Garcia, we have two more, everybody, before I let you go, unless we have some other here from the live comments that we can get to. Oh, Benjamin Garcia, for your wide receiver too, Brandon Ayuk, Randall Cobb, or Christian Kirk. I really, really like Christian Kirk, but I really like the upside of Brandon Ayuk. So I am going to lean Brandon Ayuk here. I don't mind playing Christian Kirk, though. But for you, I am going to, if this were my team, I would make the choice of Brandon Ayuk simply because of the matchup is just too good for me. And Brandon Bright, I have gotten this question so many times. It is ridiculous. First of all, thank you so much for listening to me, to the geniuses that are in this industry. That is not me. I just listen to those people as well. George Pickens or Alec Pierce? First of all, thank you for having both of them on your squad. I am going with Alec Pierce. I understand that George Pickens had a great game. Deontay Johnson just did not score the points that we wanted him to, but that is a lot of risk. It's a lot of boom or bust. Jake Seeley loves George Pickens. I know that he would pick him. I am not. I am going Alec Pierce. That's what I'm doing, everybody. If you don't believe me, I don't blame you, but I am going Alec Pierce. I really like what he's been able to do. I like what Matt Ryan has been able to do. And then Brandon Bright, you are here live with me in the chat. I hope you did not miss the answer. If you did, just let me know. I'll let you know what it is offline. And then Ephraim Matias. You traded Sutton and Stevenson for Kenneth Walker and Gabe Davis today. You're having a little trade remorse. I would not have traded away Gabe Davis. No, you traded for Walker and Gabe Davis. No, you did great. You did great. If you traded away Sutton and Stevenson to get those two players, hats off to you, my friend. You nailed it. Well done. That is an excellent trade. Don't worry about that. You should not have trade remorse. That was really, really, really well done. Cam Horton, full PPR. You have Kittle on your bench. I don't blame you. But Taysom Hill is available on the waiver wire. Go get him. Should you add Taysom Hill to the flex? You have McKenzie in right now. Absolutely. I would rather have Taysom Hill in the flex over Isaiah McKenzie, even in that juicy, juicy matchup. McKenzie can produce, but it's actually moving away from Isaiah McKenzie and it's moving towards Khalil Shakir, as we mentioned so far. Yes. Oh, Kittle is in your lineup. Okay, let's see, Cam. You said correction. Kittle is in your lineup. I still think you should play Taysom Hill. In there. Cam Horton, hit me up at Stepmom Lauren. I really want to dive into your roster and see what we can do to kind of move things around there because I want to see what other options that you have that are available to you. Either way, I still think you should go pick up Taysom Hill from the waiver wire. Shmi123, how you doing? Would you drop McKissick for Robinson or lean on his receptions in PPR on a rainy day? I understand where you're coming from here when it comes to McKissick. This is really going to be a personal, I don't know, thing. I mean, I'm a James Robinson. I'm assuming you mean James Robinson and not Allen Robinson. I'm a James Robinson truther, and I understand that he doesn't have the kind of volume like McKissick does, especially when it comes to the passing game, but James Robinson will be utilized. I know he had a bad game last week, but I would rather bank on someone like James Robinson falling into the end zone with the way that I know Doug Peterson runs his offense and runs his running backs, no pun intended. I would rather lean on James Robinson than I would McKissick. It's a personal choice because, neither of them are guaranteed. They're not automatic starts. They are flex matchup dependent starters. I would rather have James Robinson. And hi, Shmi. I like your name. Shmi123. Waves at Lauren. Hey. Devontae Smith or I love at Waves at Lauren. Producer Fox, you're the best. Devontae Smith or Melvin Gordon PPR. Larry M. If there is any humanly way possible, or any way humanly possible, I should say, that you can get both of those dudes into your lineup, I would recommend doing so. If you cannot, Melvin Gordon, hands down for me. Hands down. Again, I don't know if you missed it earlier. If you did, not a problem. You can just rewatch this because I'm going to be putting this on my website, stepmomlauren.com. It's going to be a revenge matchup. A retribution game for Melvin Gordon, who will have something to prove for his old team with the Chargers, who kind of dumped him. I mean, I would, if I was like the ex, I wanted to be like, look how great I'm doing. Hey, like Jamal Williams. He's one of my favorites. All right, everybody, that does it for me. I have wasted 45 minutes of your time. I'm kidding. I have filled you with valuable, insightful information. If you have any questions, if you maybe come up with some more start and sit situations, or you have some trade conundrums that you need some help with, please do not hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter, on Instagram, even on Facebook at Stepmom Lauren. Again, I do have my own website, of which this video here at FTN will be on there, as well as all of my other work. If you have not done so already, please hit the subscribe button. It helps me out, helps you out, helps out our company. And this is the best show on FTN, clearly, obviously. So you should be hitting that subscribe button and the notifications for whenever we go live. We have a lot of wonderful content over there. Remember, with my promo code SML, you get 20% off any package over at our 3 different websites, FTN Daily, FTN Bets, and FTNFantasy.com. But most importantly, go sign up for PrizePicks.com. All right? Do over-unders. Go over to FTN Daily, put it in our free pick tracker tool, play along with me. I need to put mine in there, of which I will be doing. So hopefully by the time y'all talk to me tomorrow, I will be sitting. Well, actually, let's do Friday, because I usually just watch the game and then go to sleep. So hopefully by Friday, I will be sitting at 5-1. Everybody, good luck in week 6 and good luck through the dreaded bye weeks. Don't forget to plan ahead when you're looking at those waiver wire pickups. And again, good luck. Thank you everyone so much for joining me.